Welcome to Unlocking Las Vegas with your favorite redhead realtor, Erin Pearson Mills. We're going to be covering the greater areas of Las Vegas all the way to Pahrump and Mesquite, talking about trends, events, sports, and more. I'm super excited to welcome all of our guests this year and have a great time, which is everything Unlocking Las Vegas. Welcome back to another episode of Unlocking Las Vegas with yours truly, Erin Pearson Mills and
Leslie McGarry, Hustle and Heels LV.
Wow. So we're really fancy today. We're very businesslike because we're going to be breaking down and discussing the N.A.R versus Burnett settlement case. N.A.R stands for National Association of Realtors. And if you have lived under a rock or you're very, you don't, own a phone, you've probably seen a lot of different things on all social media platforms, on all the major news broadcasting channels. And I think we should talk about it because people keep calling me and they're like, why haven't you made a video? And I go, because it's pretty much business as usual. Mm-hmm. A lot of the things that they're already saying is, stuff I've been doing for the last 7 years. So it's not that big of a shakeup. To me, it's more of a clerical discrepancy that things are being taken off of the MLS, the multiple listing service. Mm-hmm. But what's the big thing?
So
it's
a big thing if you make it a big thing. I think that it is more how you perceive what this looks like. It's the same thing that you guys are doing now. You're going to take the listing agreement and you're going to decide how much percentage the seller's going to pay.
Okay, let's back up just a little bit. Okay, For those of you who, this is the first time you've ever tuned in, I am a Las Vegas realtor and she is on the lending side.
Yes.
So we are going to have a lot of different opinions. Yes. And so for the last week or so, I teach a lot of classes, I sponsor a lot of classes, a lot of people come at me with questions. And so I just wanted to break it down. So if you've never heard of it, so basically this lawsuit was saying that the real estate industry set commissions at 6% and there was never any negotiations. Completely false and untrue.
Completely false.
1,000% completely false and untrue. Yep. But that's the headlines. And so it just makes everybody, look bad. Okay. Everything is negotiable down to like the last day of escrow. So whatever is done, it is finalized. They've agreed to pay the defendant plaintiffs, whatever, $418 million and over the next 4 years. Okay, amazing. So those are kind of the facts. So what is happening? And we are in various different markets. Somebody even, do not know if this is true, told me that New York City doesn't even use, they are not with N.A.R and they do not use a multiple listing service. They're more networking, broker opens. I don't know if this is true.
I don't know if that's true.
But what they're saying is that people can survive without having to join N.A.R because, what have you. Here, the facts is what we have to go with what we are presented. Correct. So I've been laughing for a couple weeks because this lawsuit has to go through another court system to be actually solidified and determined, which is in a few weeks, so 3 to 6 more weeks. There's not going to be any DEFCON black and white changes to anything until July 1st or a little bit beyond. And so
there actually wasn't even a specified date in there. It just said July 2024.
July. So here's the thing. Here is what the hubbub is about, is that they're saying that, oh my heck, if I get a buyer, I'm not going to be paid anymore by the sellers, and I've got to turn around and sit down, and these buyers have to pay me. Okay. Do you want to break that down?
Okay. So in the world of mortgages, I am seeing that everybody is saying, well, the mortgage agents have to figure it out. The mortgage companies have to figure it out. We're going to have to wrap it in the loan. We're going to have to do this. Okay. We already are set by our standards, right?
Yeah.
I have
your regulations,
really great cheat sheet. And if anybody wants this cheat sheet, you can DM Erin.
What does this say on it though?
So basically the cheat sheet is every type of loan that is available: conventional, USDA, FHA, and VA, and the maximum seller contribution. We've always had that. We've always had that standard. Maximum seller contribution can be used towards anything that the buyer has to pay for, except for their down payment. Okay. So if you are getting 3% for your seller contribution that is for your commission, it's okay. We just have to figure out how the buyer is going to pay their closing costs, because generally you would negotiate that and get that in for closing costs, right? We have to start sharpening our tools right now.
Well, yeah, the
value add.
Yeah, the value, the more intelligent, the more educated agents that are in it to win it, we're already rising above, and that's why we are the top percentages in each of our markets, is because we're continually training. I mean, I already have all of my paperwork and presentations and value that I've been structuring for the last 7 years.
You've always been able to negotiate. I'll do your listing for 1%. I'll do your listing for 0%.
It's always been negotiable. Now, so when I do listings, this week in particular and last week in particular, I walked in because everything is the same. And so I said, typically with 6%, here's the portion that would go to me. Here's the portion that would go to marketing. Here's the portion that would go with the selling agent. Here's the value that comes with all of that. And if you want to pay less, we can absolutely go through the things that, that would come out of. Buyer broker. So if a buyer comes to me, it's now going to be regulated that you do have to have a buyer broker agreement signed before you go show a house. Why weren't you doing that in the first place? Is it too scary? Is it like, going on a first date and saying, sign here for when we're going to get married? Well, that sounds scary. But you have to educate people.
Yes. And here's the thing is, everything is negotiable. I've read a million things on social media saying, well, the lawyers take 33% and that's not negotiable. That's not true. You can choose the lawyer that you want to have. You can pay a lawyer $6.50 an hour or pay $150 an hour. You could choose to pay him 20%.
That's a good analogy.
Everything's negotiable. And so you're responsible for your own business now. And instead of getting caught up in the hysteria and going, how am I ever going to get paid?
This is how it is, black and white. It's not because nothing is set in stone yet.
Went through it. 2010, they took the mortgage industry like a snow globe and they shook it and they mixed it up. And I did a mastermind for about 17 realtors the other day, and I had them raise their hand and said, do you remember when this happened in 2010, right? And part of them raised their hand. And I said, do you remember the hysteria about what are we going to do about the closing disclosure? And what's that mean? And that's going to delay our close.
The 3-day CD.
Rescission, and there was calendars. Yeah. You guys, every market, every industry, everything changes. And
all we got to do right now is take the stairs instead of the elevator. Could you do it? Yeah. 100,000%.
You got to adapt.
And here's the thing. A lot of people are like, let's just cut out those buyer's agents and the listing agent is going to get the sale and bring the buyer. Okay, but that's a very delicate situation.
Yes, it is.
So I would call that not greedy. I would call that not representing your buyer or your seller in full and truth and covering your fiduciary duty. Yeah. So I tell because all of my sellers right now, they do have these questions. Fantastic. Let's break this down. And I said, listen, if somebody walks into your open house that I'm putting on and they want to buy from me, I will immediately send them to another agent in my office, because I want to be clear. I am here I want to get the most money for you, a buyer's agent, because I'm a real good buyer's agent. I'm here to get the most money from the seller. I have only done, in loose terms, dual agency 3 times in my 7-year career. And it has been a super clean, agreed upon cash deal with no appraisals, with no inspections, within 10 days. Perfect for everybody, sat around the same table. That is the only way. And I gave my sellers a discount because I don't feel like I would be earning the buyer commission and the seller commission because I'm a good person. So,
and I've been on the side where I've had agents that are representing
it's just
agency, and
I could just see it go down really hard, because here's the thing with fiduciary duty, I might know some secrets over here. They could be getting a divorce and they're really fighting, and so I could go to this one and get X money off this for the buyer, but then the buyer, there's too much information. Well, that'd be like a lawyer agreeing to a divorce lawyer agreeing to do both.
Yeah.
But you could.
And that lawyers can do that. So, but
we shouldn't be able to either.
There is a lot of talk out there that I'm watching. Different people come out and say, well, every real estate agent should just go get their mortgage license.
Ooh.
So that they can make money on that side. I can tell you this.
That's like being the surgeon and the anesthesiologist. Would I sign up for that? No.
What you guys do for a living, you have to be out, you're on call, you're showing properties, you're doing this, you're doing that. What we do for a living, we've got to be there and processing that paperwork and making it move and making sure you can't take downtime and go show 8 properties and be out of the office for 7-8 hours.
No, thank you.
You know, I think everybody just needs to take a beat. They need to talk to their broker. They need to find themselves an accountability partner. You've got to role play this. You've got to show your value add. Line up with a lender that's going to help you. Like, we've never needed to see your guys' commission instructions ever. We're going to need to see that stuff now. It's going to be per property. We're going to have to help you structure these deals, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to have to get super creative in how this is going to go down. Every major mortgage company out there is meeting right now. Every major figurehead is saying,
and all I'm saying is don't get your information from the national news or from social media. I mean, go to your market where you do have, like we have LVR, you know, Las Vegas.
Realtors.
It used to be GLVR. So, okay. You know, you're going to have your brokers, you're going to have your boards, you're going to have where it's literally coming down from. And that's where I would wait and get as much education as possible. So in the meantime, I do think that you should start to, you know, compile, if you haven't already, why people should work with you as a buyer. Because you know what? The majority of this earth thinks that buyer's agents open doors and take a $10,000 check. You need to explain to them your negotiation skills, how you can, you know, negotiate the inspections, how you would, you know, get to learn about the sellers and the other agent to get the concessions that they have available to cover this and to cover this. So, get your resume ready, kids. That's all I have to say.
Be prepared. I always say this, you should always be prepared, right? You don't know what's going to happen in July. You're not sure. Everybody's kind of like,
I don't know what's going to happen after I walk out that door to my car.
But you have to continuously practice your skills, and you have to be able to say, I do it every day. We don't have any type of agreement. I can take somebody right now, work on their credit for 6 months and lose them 6 months in.
Yeah.
Right? But I present where my value is to the client and why I'm going to do a really good job.
And buyer broker, like I said, it's like if I went on a first date and they're like, sign this piece of paper that we will get married in 6 months, I'd walk out all day long. And so for me, I liked not making them sign it. I would give them what I call, I'm sorry if this is against anything, I do what I call a foreplay. And so we would meet, we'd go everything, and then I'd be like, let's go see 1 day's worth of houses. So whether it be 3 houses or 4 or 5, you know, I don't even care. I don't even care if you are not pre-approved, because I want you to see how I work. You know, and then I want to show you the value, because my husband's a licensed home inspector, how I can start opening doors and giving you my unprofessional and licensed opinion on water heaters and stuff like that. So, but now with this, I mean, that's absolutely fine. But I do feel like the best is going to rise, like, you know, cream to the top. Because if you guys, I think you have to do like 40 some odd hours every 2 years to renew your license, okay, whatever it may be in your market, okay? So it came up a lot in the last couple of weeks of my listing appointments. They realized from my social media, I am not only sponsoring classes all week long, I give classes all week long. So the typical agent will only be, quote unquote, forced to do between 40 and 50 hours every 2 years. I do about 15 to 20 a week. And so my knowledge is popping all the time. So go and audit some classes, you know, realtors, just get on those lists. Even if you don't need them, you don't need to pay the $10 or $20 if you don't need the certificate. I would just encourage you to overeducate yourself in all different forms of fields.
And listen, you're going to read a million different opinions about what this looks like on social media. You really need to be paying attention to what your broker is telling you. Talk to your lender, mastermind with your lender, get the real information. I get contracts over all the time, and I have to call and say, hey, you overdid the seller contributions. We can't use that. We can't do this. We've got to do that. I call you repeatedly, hey, I have an idea, let's do it this way, or let's flip this, or let's get this, or move it over here. You've got to be with somebody that is experienced, has got a background that's going to be your partner to move through this.
Well, bottom line, every time I get a buyer and I send them to you and you're getting them loaned up, and I tell them to, I stay completely out of your finances. Me and Leslie only talk about what we need to know. And every time before I go out, I said, Leslie, tell me exactly what you need me to get from that seller. And I will go get it, whether it be $7,500, whether it be this or this or this, and I will go get it for you.
And this is even more important that you're continuing to have those conversations with your lender as you're showing a property, and you know what the commission's going to be, so that you know what kind of loan that we're putting them into. We know if we can list it. We know if there's enough money. We know if there's funds verified. Because what you guys don't want to do is get all the way to the end where you're going to the closing table and they don't have money. And yet your commission wasn't covered. So there's just be vigilant.
Well, bottom line, if I can calm you guys down, sellers, I mean, buyers agents will get paid. You just have to ask for it in a different way. It's not just going to be black and white on the MLS, period, the end. And so whether it's not called a co-op anymore, it's going to be called concessions or a seller credit. You just have to relearn a little bit of a different language and actually pick up a phone and talk to somebody on the other end.
100%.
So I hope that we've quieted your fears a little bit. Bottom line, you're going to make it. You're going to be fine. You just have to re-educate yourself and take the stairs now instead of the elevator that you're used to. So there you go.
I love it.
All right.
So rise.
And you know what? If anybody ever had any questions, I've been asked this a lot. I'm actually meeting with people. If you are looking or want information about eXp Realty, I'd love to be your sponsor or answer any questions. My cell phone number directly to text is 702-265-5756, and I will answer your questions. Happy to help you, because what comes with me is tons and tons of training, not only to be a great agent, is to be amazing on social media. So that was my plug for the day. And with me, you also get the fabulous Leslie McGarry, who can do loans in how many states in America?
Every state in America.
All right, there you go. So there's no reason for you to look any further. So I hope you have a fantastic day going into Easter. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, friend.
Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.